Redman is in the building, of course. Jersey's finest, all about them bars, marijuana smoker. Hey, PSA announcement. I need everybody go support. That's right, support my fucking state, my city. Heritage Hip Hop, a New Jersey media source that celebrates New Jersey hip hop worldwide. Facts. And we are celebrating our legends right here, Jersey, baby. Please subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop on social media. That is Heritage Hip Hop on social media. Jersey, you know I love you. Jersey, you know we got bars and we got music and we got legends all day. And if you believe in Jersey and you love Jersey like I do, support that Heritage Hip Hop on all social media platforms. This is Redman and I approve this message.
Yo, peace and blessings and welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. We introduce you to your future favorite artists today while celebrating the foundation of hip hop culture and hip hop music. Now, first and foremost, before we get started, I haven't been around posting as much. I've been sick, dealing with things with family and my own health. So I apologize to you because y'all want real hip hop. Y'all want that good content, and it is my responsibility to bring this platform to your listening ears and to your viewing pleasure. So for everybody out there to watch all the other podcasts, thank you for supporting them, but welcome home. As we celebrate hip hop right here. And tonight, not only do we have somebody who rhymes, we have somebody who brings life perspective and the reflection of his life to the microphone to produce future endeavors of, let's just say, fulfillment. Because a lot of people put rhymes together or put words together, but people are not rhyming their lives. So when you get somebody who can rhyme about their life and their experience, not only are you getting an A+ lesson in experience, but you're also getting inspiration through the life lens of somebody else's life's journey. Please introduce yourself to the people.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Hectik The Latin Assassin from Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York. Right now I'm living in Florida, Fleet artist. So salute to Fleet DJs up in the building. Also representing God Division. And yeah, and also stay some time in the X. So shout out to the X.
All right, that's what's good. So before we get into the all the stuff, yes, salute to the Fleet DJs. I'll call the Fleet DJs out. Y'all got artists and y'all don't even bring them to Heritage Hip Hop, and I'm a Fleet DJ. Shame on you. I call my own team out. I don't play no games with this thing, everybody, because hip hop is a culture, and we got to celebrate the culture worldwide. So if you think I'm not going to talk to you, if you're from Mississippi or Florida or even across the world, you're wrong. I invite everybody to the platform because this is where real hip hop lives.
Awesome.
In the conversation and not just in the beats. So if anybody wanted to know what hip hop is, how would you define it and why do you do it?
To me, what hip hop is a way of life. It's an attitude. It's an awareness. It's street fashion. It's graffiti. It's break dancing. It's DJing. It's MCing. It's rhyming. It's build street entrepreneurism with certain artists, and they, merchandising, whatever, may go on to engineering, making beats or whatnot. So now they're, making gains, not just with their music, not just with their artistry, but other different avenues of the game. But hip hop to me is just, it's always like, it's been like right there, growing up in New York and, Hot 97 and growing up in, I was born in the early 80s. So, I grew up as a teenager in the early 90s, mid 90s era. That was one of the best eras. So, hip hop is a part of me.
I want to ask you this question because hip hop is synonymous with culture, because hip hop is a culture, people say, right?
Yes.
And we always focus on the basics, which is graffiti, beatboxing, b-boying, and all the other stuff, right? What part of hip hop culture do you appreciate now as you've seen it grow because it came out of that and went somewhere else in its
Um,
evolution?
I appreciate the ones before us the most because I feel like a lot of the artists today, that's like in the game doesn't show their respect to their elders and the ones that kind of brought them, the game before them or whatnot, and they definitely deserve their flowers, their props. Hip hop evolves or whatnot. It evolved. We was at a time in our era where before, guys before us didn't like that sound and had problems with that sound with, fuck the police or, talking about drugs, whatever, street gang, whatever the case may be. But I mean, everything changes. Some things stay the same. But I wish there was a lot more unity and a lot more paying the respects to the ones that came before you because you wouldn't be in this spot whether old school or new school if it wasn't for the guys before you.
But isn't that a ploy of people who try to undermine what hip hop is? Because in our cultures, outside of being called hip hop, the way to destroy a people, besides what they ingest, has been ageism. And we always say hip hop is a young man's game, but recently in hip hop, we have people who are in their 40s and 50s putting out some of the best music being recognized, not only by the Grammys, but by the younger generation as well as quality content. And that's something I wanted to talk to you about is making good music versus putting out bad content.
Yes.
With age being one of the number one components to make hip hop hate itself, how is age saving hip hop and standing on the shoulders and getting inspiration from those of the 90s and before, saving it in your opinion?
Because if artists, and including myself, knew what we knew now back then, we'd be better back then in better situations than we do now. They went through life situations and we all go through life situations and they get smarter and they get, and they know how to maneuver things better. They get more business savvy. They get more, like you said, there are a lot of artists that are in the older ages now that are dropping fire. Redman that just dropped his album. Aguilar the Don, who just dropped his album, dropped a nice album. You know what I mean? Craig G, MOP, KRS-One, they still rhyming, to this day. Wu-Tang's about to drop another album. You know what I mean? So, like, there's a lot of cats, and it's inspirational because to guys like me who, is on the older side, it's like, yo, we could still make that music. But I think it's just all lessons and learning. And, the older you get, the wiser you get because you've been through so many situations and now they're in better places. Some of them are not on major labels, they're doing things independently. And, you know what I mean? So, a lot of them learned different things about whatever their journey was, and I think they're in a better place now because of what they went through and what they learned.
Very interesting that you say that because you're talking about the experience and the journey. So let's talk about your experience and your journey. You are from Brownsville.
Yes, sir.
Now, Brownsville, if anybody who does not know, and I don't know how you don't know, Brownsville is a very well respected place when it comes to hip hop, especially East Coast New York hip hop. Brownsville is the whole home of Smooth the Hustler, Trigger the Gambler, MOP. You talking Helter Skelter, Boot Camp, and stuff like that. Tell me
Rusty
about
Chucks.
Rusty Judge. Shout out to Rusty Judge. So tell me about the fabric of Brownsville, how the fabric of Brownsville has added to hip hop to make hip hop better.
I mean, you got, like, you just named off a bunch of legendary MCs, but Brownsville wasn't just about legendary MCs. I mean, you got Mike Tyson, that's from Brownsville. You got Riddick Bowe, who was a heavyweight champion that beat Mike Tyson, that was from there, or whatnot, that was around there and had a parade there after the fact,
Wow.
or whatnot. So, it was, you had artists and you had one of the biggest boxers of all time from there in Mike Tyson. And, you know, and it had its respect. I mean, Brownsville was a hard place to live. And at the time when I was growing up, it was one of the worst neighborhoods in Brooklyn. And you know what I mean? Like, I said in one of my songs, you can only walk when the moon's down, and part of that is true because, growing up, most nights we hearing gunshots. And you know what I mean? So like coming from a place like that and people like MOP making it and stuff like that makes it even bigger because, Brownsville is no joke.
Yeah, Riddick Bowe never fought Mike Tyson, bro.
Well, what he had fought
I'm a I'm a Mike Tyson
he,
fan.
he fought
Salute to Mike.
what was it? Evander then, right? That's who he
He
fought.
fought Evander and he fought
Yeah, I
Lennox
got that
Lewis.
mixed up.
Yeah, Riddick
That's
Bowe
my
and Mike
bad.
Tyson were actually sixth grade classmates. They
Yeah,
went to the same
No,
school.
I remember when Riddick Bowe had the parade in Brownsville. That's what I was thinking, but I got it mixed up.
Yeah,
That he did beat Evander after Evander had won.
yeah. Shout out to the Queen, Harmony Equality. I love you, sis, all day. Shout out to the Hello Effect podcast, my brother Sheik in New Jersey Fleet DJ family, and everybody else tuned in. Make sure you leave comments because you're a part of this interview too, and you're gonna be able to ask my brother some comments. Ask him some questions. I'm sorry, through the comments in this interview. Now, I wanna
Of
go
course.
back to what you said about Brownsville because Brownsville has so many anthems. The most famous one would be Annie Up, right?
Yes,
But then
definitely.
you but then you
And the
got
remix.
yep,
Maybe even the remix more than the regular song.
maybe. Yeah. And then you got Broken Language. You know what I'm saying? You got DV Elias Christ. My crew can't go for that. You know what I'm saying? Like Brownsville is the gateway to a lot of the harder elements of hip hop that needed to be seen and heard when people started to appreciate and find what hip hop is, being that hip hop was the voice of the people who weren't being heard. What is the
That's-
most frustrating part about being an MC when you're and not being heard, in your opinion?
it's tough because you know what I mean. Like obviously being heard, helps you with your fan base, helps you with them listening to your material, helps them, helps buy your merch, helps, become a fan. So it's just it gets tough because, I want people to hear what I gotta say. You know what I mean? Like I can, part one was more like a hardcore introduction, and part two was different, and I let people in my life, and I try to stay versatile and try to give the people, different sides and appeal to different things. And it could be tough when you're not heard. Went through a lot of years of not being heard, one way or another, whether if I couldn't get in the studio or, just life. And it is tough, not being heard. It's that's why we keep producing music and just keep putting out. But obviously, if you're not heard, you know what I mean? Like, no one's gonna know you. No one's gonna know your name. No one's gonna listen to your music. No one's gonna be a monthly listener on Spotify. No one's gonna be looking out for the next song. No one, and if I'm doing a show in their area, is gonna show up. Because they don't know me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got to the first part of the Heritage Hip Hop podcast, which is called Let's Build. When an artist says something so profound, we have to pause a part of the interview to focus on what they said to further expound on the conversation. And you talked about being heard. To quote a Brownsville legend who rhymes, 99% of the world don't know I exist. That's why my point is getting missed. And that's one of those lines. Shout out to Billy Dance. That's one of them lines that when I heard it, it made perfect sense.
Thus,
Because when you make music or you're an artist, the goal is for the world to appreciate your art. And we live in a time now where music is such a commodity that not being heard is the norm. You as an artist, How do you find a way not to be the norm, even though you're on DSPs? You're trying not to be the norm, but the norm is structured to not being heard. How do you fight that and stand out?
You know, trying to put the music on Bandcamp, putting it in other, try to get physical copies, other stuff that you could do to, not just rely on DSPs and rely on that. Do performances where people can hear me, live and get, try to do as much performances as I can. So that way, if people can't get to the music, then they can hear me. Thus, will take, if I, win them over, if they're like, oh, this cat is nice, they're going to want to listen more. They're going to want to listen to the music. They might want to collaborate. They might want to do whatever. And, you know what I mean? Like I spoke earlier, like, needs to be more unity, with a lot of people. Is like, is division. It's like we could all work together and do things and, you know what I mean? Just bring it back and, work together to accomplish the goals of what hip hop is all about and the
Ah,
culture is all about.
well, let's stick to that part right there, what hip hop is all about. Because hip hop officially, originally, was all about stopping the shooting, stopping the violence, stopping everything that hurts our people, which was in the inner city. Whether you
And
consider
the
yourself
early
black, brown, Hispanic, whatever, it doesn't matter. There was violence in the community. The gangs wanted it to stop. People eventually got together, started making beats, rhymes, dances to stop the negativity that was going on in the world. Today, we have people who are being put on blast for doing the same thing, making music that's not reflecting the times that we're in. How do we elevate the culture to be heard, in your opinion, if the people who are making the music and the culture are not reflecting the needs of the consumer that's looking for a getaway from the pain this world is giving them? What do you say?
and if they can't get it from them, then look into deeper to get it from us and get it from other artists like myself and other artists that do that, and they could get it. That it's not mainstream ain't the only way to listen to some of the rappers. And there are some mainstream rappers, like you got your Kendricks and your J. Cole's, that do certain songs where they talk about, you know, J. Cole talks about North Carolina a lot and, stuff going on in North Carolina and giving knowledge. And obviously, things haven't changed from then now. We still have to fight the violence and police brutality and all stuff like that. Like, none of that stuff has changed. But, people need to just open their ears more because, like I said, it's not just mainstream. You got so many different scenes. You got battle rap. You got so many different, like, that you can listen to that can appeal you, and certain artists that can take you on a ride and take you on a story, and just you could just sit back and listen. If you're a smoker, sit back and smoke one. If you're a drinker, sit back and drink a beer. You know what I mean? Like, and just enjoy the ride, and just, like I said, not just your mainstream rapper. There's so many rappers out there that I could list off that are so sick and so ill, and do the same message, and do songs like that as well that they can relate to. They just gotta go out there and look for it, as well as we got to do our job to make sure that they have the opportunity to hear it.
I wanna see how ironic this is to, based on what you said. Hip hop has mostly been about music. But if you look at what a podcast is, hip hop went from music to talk radio. And podcast is actually an extension of talk radio, where people are still talking, even without music being played. Because I don't really play music on here because I don't want to get taken down on social media sites. But the conversation is the part that makes music amazing. One of the most profound things I ever heard in music was freedom is a road seldom traveled by the multitude. Everybody wants, even today, wants to be independent, but y'all not. Y'all sign distribution deals. So you're not really truly independent. But freedom is being able to say what you want, how you want, and give it to the people how you want so that they may digest what it is that you're saying. We're coming up to a time now where they're going to start, they're starting to take down things like Wikipedia because they're changing the education.
Yes.
They're even changing the music laws again based on new administrations. And not only that, we're going to see the recensorship of America to the point where the prophecy of the 90s that Prodigy and Nas talked about is coming true, where they say real hip hop will be underground and you have to find it. As the world changes from radio to now you having to be discovered, how do we clearly show and tell the world where to find the jewel instead of just giving them the earth and ground to dig to find jewels randomly?
Promote, promote. Promote the albums, promote the songs, give descriptions, let them know, you know, hey, listen to this song, to everyone that's feeling a certain way, listen to this song. I mean, that's all we got. Is promote, use social media for that reason instead of, promote on all sites and talk about it and, you know, try to gear them to it, any way possible or what have you. Because like you said, Prodigy and Nas gave us the warning, and it's true. Um, where if they want to really listen to lyricism and consciousness and pure bars and all that, you gotta look for the underground. Like I said, there's a couple cats in the game that are holding it down there. Salute to them. You got Griselda, guys like that. But you know, promotion and putting yourself out there and letting them and making yourself available and making your music available so that way they can see it, hear it, and show them the way.
Shout out,
And
shout out to you for saying that. But guess what, y'all? Posting on Instagram, that's not promotion. That's actually marketing. And so is DSPs. So if you have music out there, make sure you sell your music. That's the best way you can be heard. I want to ask you one more question on the Let's Build part before we end this. And it's sort of a rhetorical question. You know what makes hip hop special? I'm going to tell you a true story. I was a kid watching NBC one Saturday, and it was a Kid and Play cartoon. Y'all don't know Kid and Play? Look up your hip hop history. You remember the cartoon? Put a thumbs up in the comments because I need to know y'all listening. And they had an episode when there was a guy in their class who got picked on because he stuttered. But when he rhymed, he was dope because the stuttering made a style that showed he had skill and he could actually do something that was not the norm.
He made it work for him. Made it work for him.
How does hip hop make it work for the people who need to be heard so that they are undeniably heard when that beat comes on and the message is given?
What can hip hop do? Hip hop needs to the self, like we can't do it alone, but hip hop needs to, you know what I mean, like diversify and embrace both whatever is doing today that the kids are listening to, and also embracing still what we're doing or whatnot, and putting both cultures together. I mean, you keep them in their lanes, but, to let people know that these guys are still doing it. These guys, there's not just Main Street rappers. They have to, whether it's, you know, doing those BTE ciphers with cats from the underground or making a show on you know, on not no hustle and flow, but you know what I mean, like something more, you know what I mean, like stuff like that, like doing their part or whatnot, like showing up more to like events or showing up to the battle rap events and showing up to have some guys that have credibility battle. You know what I mean? Like a Lloyd Banks or someone like that that has punchlines for days. I mean, Cassidy went over there, but like there's so many other cats that, you know what I mean, ain't really doing too much that, they could help, make those scenes bigger. They see scenes of, you know, guys that a platform that goes places and get artists and they do ciphers and performances. Go be a part of it, you know, help out, give us knowledge, let us know what we should do and what we shouldn't do.
Yeah, I respect that highly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're hearing, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this interview. Hit the Cash App to donate. Heritage $ Heritage Hip Hop. Let us know what you think about this interview and this platform. And we're gonna get into the music. So we'll be right back after this break.
Where you get your hip hop from? Yeah. What's up? This Tribal Trigger Trench in the building. You already know. Nip, naughty.
Hey, Redman is in the building, of course. Jersey's finest, all about them bars, marijuana smoker. Hey, PSA announcement. I need everybody go support. That's right, support my fucking state, my city. Heritage Hip Hop, a New Jersey media source that celebrates New Jersey hip hop worldwide. Facts. Please subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop on social media. That is Heritage Hip Hop on social media.
What up, y'all, man? It's your boy Do It All, Do Pray Kelly, right here on Heritage Hip Hop, man. Look, man, let me tell you something. Make sure you support Heritage Hip Hop, because without these brothers bringing you hip hop, we're not gonna stay informed, man, the way that we need to stay informed, man. And they're not just giving you hip hop, man. They're giving you the heritage of hip hop, right here, man. Yo, Kareb, I see you. Heritage Hip Hop, man. Let's do it. It ain't nothing like Heritage Hip Hop.
It's all about the plug. Shout out to the gentleman that gave us the shout outs. Also, if you like what you're seeing, subscribe to heritagehiphop.com. Right now we have a little special going on with Super 7. If you don't know what Super 7 is, bam. Super 7 does hip hop action figures. If there's an action figure that you like, you can click on the link and we'll get you a little deal with the hip hop figures. Or also, if you're looking to have a blog, an album review, or a write-up, heritagehiphop.com. We have great blogs and write-ups, and our blogs and write-ups are carried by 3 publications. Fleet Magazine. We have Goodfellas TV, who was officially affiliated with Def Jam, and heritagehiphop.com. So you will be looked at, and your stuff will be seen. So let's go back to our interview with Hectik The Latin Assassin. I have other parts of the interview I would like to share with you, if you don't mind, sir.
No problem. No problem.
We have Choose Your Hot Topic, where we talk about the things going on in the hip hop industry to know what it is that you think about certain things going on. The hot topics that you get to choose, you have 3 topics. You have Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. You have the FBA conversation. And most importantly, where hip hop is going in the future. Which one would you like to talk about?
Let's talk about the Kendrick Lamar. That's the topic of everybody. So let's talk about the Kendrick Lamar after the Super Bowl and everything.
Okay. Azalea Banks said Drake is the greatest rapper of all time because not only did he take on a major label, he's suing the other artist and the label itself, taking it to the man instead of fighting another person of color in the industry and making the man money. How do you feel about those comments?
I feel that that's nonsense. First of all, he's not the greatest rapper of all time, so that was out of there. I mean, I know he's successful and he's made a lot of hits, and that's all cool and dandy, but Um, I don't think we could call somebody the greatest of all time if they don't even write all their rhymes. And I just to call him the greatest of all time because what he hit and suing and everything like that, like nah, like like I said, you can't take away from what he's done, all these years and the amount of hits that he's had and the amount of success that he's had. Obviously, he's had more success than Kendrick. He's had more success than a lot of other artists, but he's not the greatest of all time. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that I don't agree with those comments.
You see, the thing about the Kendrick and Drake thing is people are now taking it outside of hip hop. Like Azalea Banks is calling Drake the greatest of all time because he's going against the companies. Larry Johnson, the former running back of the Kansas City Chiefs,
Okay.
who now does a lot of commentary, says Kendrick is a scapegoat. And because he put on something close to looking like a dress, they're letting him get this limelight and to push him as the as a narrative to keep people fake aware while the game is still being played around them and the wool pulled over their eyes. What is, in your opinion, the importance of morality and character when it comes to anything you do, especially in music?
You gotta keep it real. And you gotta I'm from a place where, you know what I mean, like you gotta live by a code. There was a code, and you know what I mean, like your word is bond, and you know what I mean, like you know, to came from parents and a family, like you gotta stick to the person you are, and you know what I mean. Like we all make mistakes and stuff, but you know, to keep your morale and to stand on what you believe in, but be humble and you know what I mean, and have the respect for other people, and you know what I mean, like act like we got some sense, and you know what I mean. Like I try to stay true to myself and the music that I do and talk about what I've done and stuff in my life and stuff like that, and to keep my stuff as original as I can.
One of the more impressive songs from your catalog. Let me get to the songs right now. I like to take notes. You know, I don't like to just get up here and just talk all day. I actually like to show y'all that I care about
I appreciate that.
what I do. You know what I'm saying? Because you got people who get on here and just act like you just came out yesterday. But Walk Through Storms is one of those songs I really enjoy
I appreciate that. You're,
because
you're
a
not the first
man,
person who said that.
oh, so then you know it's true. It's one of the better songs in your catalog. And I say better because if it touches the people and it makes them want to know more about you and you're giving them your soul, it's hard to look down upon being a person being transparent. Why is transparency as an artist one of the most important things to do, in your opinion, if it is?
Um, you gotta let them in. You gotta connect. You gotta show them. You know, everyone has hardships. Obviously, some people may have gone through the same thing. Some people may gone through things similar. Some people may not have gone through what you have gone through, but it doesn't mean that their trauma is just as much as your trauma or anything you've seen or anything like that. So, like, to show that, like, hey, man, I'm human too, and we're human too, and stuff doesn't go right and it happens, and you know what I mean, like you got to fight every day to be a better person, and you know what I mean, like obviously we're not perfect, and but just to let people know, like I understand too because I go through it too. we'll all go through it one way or another, just in different ways.
But going through it is part of what life's matrix is all about. Either you go through it or you gonna grow through it.
I think,
Until the mirror gets clearer, you smoke a bone to it. Like, shout out to Out the
yeah,
Mud. Like they
yeah.
tell you, like that's what life is. But see, here's the thing though. The struggle equates the journey. And the journey gives you the goal. For if you don't struggle, there is no goal at the end. What is your goal in making music? And have you achieved anything towards that goal, in your opinion?
Yes. To me, like you said, you can't get to the end till you're changed by the journey. I actually said that in one of my songs. You can't get to the end till you're changed by the journey. And you know, this journey in hip hop, there's a lot of things that I'm proud of. I got to work with Billy Dance, which was awesome. Brownsville. It was, to be able to do a song from not only the legends of Brownsville, but just another artist from Brownsville was big. You know, Getting to work with Big Noyd. I was a big Mobb Deep fan. Rest in peace, Prodigy. Got to work with Chris Rivers. That was huge, just being Puerto Rican. And also, to rhyme with Pun's son, who, Puerto Ricans have been in the game for a long time. I know people been debating that literally lately, but we have been. You got Crazy Legs, you got a lot of other people that were there, at an early time that was rhyming, but Pun opened the door. Pun really he smashed the door open for Puerto Ricans, and showed like we can make that impact or what have you in the game. So doing a song with Chris Rivers was big. I got to open up for KRS-One. Got to see him perform. Obviously, I got to open up for a couple other guys. I'm opening up for Billy Dance at the end of the month. Opening up for Conway in a couple months. I'm doing Woo Wednesday in Nyack, New York, on the 26th. So there's a couple things that it's like, all right, I got actually a song with Aguilar that's about to drop. A song with Black Poet that's actually dropping on the 28th. The Aguilar song's not fully done yet, but that'll be out. Got stuff with Rusty Jukes with Rex that's gonna come out. So being able to work with a lot of these artists, it's like, yes, I got to go to the Punchline Academy. So I got to do a lot of things that it was just like, oh man, it's finally, starting to get it. Like worked so hard for so many years to get even these little things being, made me so humble. And just to do these little things. But I still, you know, can't be complacent. You can't stay complacent. You gotta work harder, want more. You know what I mean? Like you can't. I said it in Life is Always Hector Part 1. You know, you gotta never stay complacent. Your accolades gotta keep building.
I gotta push back on what something you said. The conversation has never been if Puerto Ricans were there early. See that, and that's part of what the FBA conversation is about. That I wanted, if you were picked it to talk about, is that the conversation of Puerto Ricans and hip hop has changed 3 times. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, because like I said, they were, there was artists that was there during that time in the beginning. Doesn't mean like, they, obviously we know who created rap,
Wait,
but
pause. No, that's not what I mean. The first conversation that this happened was Busta Rhymes saying there was no culture in America till Hispanics and Caribbeans came to this country. That's where this started from. Then it morphed into when hip hop, the seeds of hip hop first were being planted, Puerto Ricans were not there. Then it went into Puerto Ricans and Caribbeans, or no, Puerto Ricans and blacks, because they linked the Caribbeans and the blacks together, American blacks together, the Yankees as they called them. They got lumped together and it said hip hop was 50-50. So when people have this conversation, sometimes they mix the narratives together, and that's what's causing the confusion in the argument that I've seen more than were people there or not. Have you noticed that?
I mean, like I said, yes, I've noticed the fact that, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, there was different types of Puerto Rican raps coming, you know, in different eras and how it changed. And, you know what I mean? Like I said, you know, people like Crazy Legs, and then you had kind of like the pop, kind of like Two in the Room that was like dance, but they kind of rhymed, but it wasn't like, you know, actual like rap or whatever. And then, like I said, then, you know, you got guys like Pun that came, and Nori, and took it to a whole different level. But you know what I mean? Like, you know, like I said, we know that they've been around, they've been through, you know, they were here, but, you know, like when there was guys that obviously we knew, like Public Enemy and stuff like that, that was killing it, Run BNC, stuff that was killing it. You know, there was other Puerto Rican rappers at that time. I mean, they might not have been as big as them, but they were still some that were working. They just didn't get their shine as much.
I hear you. I respect your answer. I will say this though, before we get off of that subject. This is a conversation that I don't think we'll ever truly get to the point of, because everybody's scared to have the conversation like men at a table, which pisses me off. Because I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not from New York. I'm from New Jersey. Shout out to my home. Shout out to Brick City who groomed me. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. How we feel about hip hop, the world is different than how New York feels about hip hop. Jersey likes hip hop. New York birthed and loves hip hop. It's two different things. Cali likes hip hop, but funk is what they love. So it's a whole different conversation. And the one thing that makes everybody unite in hip hop is injustice and poverty, because those conditions made the funk, the expression, and everything happen. And yes, there were people who were not Puerto Rican, but were Spanish in hip hop, like Lighter Shade of Brown. Shout out to the
Yeah,
Mexican and the Chicanos
yeah,
out there in the
yeah.
West Coast. There were
Be
people out
real.
there. Exactly. There were people out there. But the one thing I want to focus on in this interview is not that. I want to focus on the story, because like I said, Walking Through Storms was something that really got me into wanting to understand who you were. So in understanding who you were, I went through your catalog, at least 2 albums. And I want to go project versus project with you right now. I want to talk about Life is Always Hectic Part 1 and Life is Always Hectic Part 2. Talk about This Is My Kingdom off of Life is Always Hectic Part 1. And what was the statement you wanted to make on that first song on your album?
Where I was from, and to let people know, I mean, it's a cliche, but it's the truth. Um, you know, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And you know, this is me. This is where I'm a New Yorker till I die. I'm a New York Nick. Knicks is my team. Like, I'm a New York Nick. You know, stay on my New York shit. My wife is a New York chick. You know what I mean? Like, And and then also, I do some power bars in there and stuff like that. Shout out to my people that watch Power. And obviously a show that was based out of them being in New York or whatnot and stuff like that. But that was, um, you know, that hook was just something that it just came, and I was just like, yeah, this is hot, and this is what, I'm trying to make a message of. This is where I'm from, letting everybody know this is, I'm from New York, and you know what I mean, like, and this is what we about. If
Now,
you,
how,
if,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
So then how does that song coalesce or go with Life is Always Hectic Part 2 song, My Block, featuring Big Noy and Arrow, the other one,
Errol Flynn,
Arrow
Errol
Flynn.
Flynn, aka Evil. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
It's part of the God Division
How
as well.
how do those songs go together?
They go together in a way of, I talk about kind of me coming up and what was going on the block. And really, Noid rhymed on it first, and obviously he talked about Queensbridge, um, and stuff. And then Errol Flynn came up with Evil came up with the hook, and because I then wrote my verse and kind of, you know what I mean, like was like, all right, let's let me talk about, like, what a day's like, a day is like in the hood, or what was the day like for Hectic. You know what I mean? What were we doing coming up, and what was I doing and how it was, and you know what I mean? And then after that, he did the hook, and then he did his verse where, he's from Rhode Island, so he talked about, how Rhode Island is and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, but it correlates because and this is my kingdom. I'm telling you where I'm from. In my block, I'm going more in detail of where I'm from.
How did you grow as an artist from life being hectic in part 1 to making a sequel?
I grew into part one was more of a, like, I gotta let people know who I am. I'm gonna come with full impact and let people know who I am. Part two was more of getting to know people. Obviously, there was a lot of features on that album, a lot of underground artists featuring in that album that I got to meet at events, social media, or whatever, and to be more versatile and learn that it's like, all right, I gave them straight hardcore, that feeling of back, when you listen to something just straight through. And, and then I did the song about my wife. But outside of that, everything was just kind of like straight through bars and hard stuff. And Life is Always Hectic Part 2 was like, all right, we're going to do this differently. And, even though I worked with a lot of the same producers, it was like, all right, I'm gonna do songs where it's more slowed down and it's more topic related and it's more about me, and talking about my life, and still give them, that old school feel, but we're gonna give them something different on this one.
I like that you went from the street dude to the world view. Because when you listen to Life is Always Hectic Part 1 and then you go into Life is Hectic Part 2 or vice versa, I can see where you are when it comes to getting your message out. Talk about the song America and how that perfectly summed up both albums together.
America was something that I shout out to AdWords who produced it. As soon as I heard it and I got it, I wanted to I was like, all right, this song, I want someone to sing on it, and this is gonna be, I didn't really know what it was yet, but I was like, this is what it's gonna be. And then I just started writing and was just like thinking about the world and thinking about what people say and thinking about mental health and thinking about, letting everybody know, like, you can make a second chance, you could do it. And, you know, like sometimes people go through stuff, you don't understand why, so it's like, why? That's why I said some people, wonder why they say they curse. People say they wish they weren't born or stuff like that. It's like, okay, why are you saying that? Like, what's, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And, sometimes it's hard to understand, but, sometimes you may feel the same way. Sometimes you may not. But, with something to, if anybody's going through something, listen to it. And, you know what I mean? Like, and, you relate to it. And I relate to it. And you know what I mean? There's a bit of myself in that song as well. And you know what I mean? And I know it because I know other people deal with it. I deal with it. And it was just, one of those songs where it just kind of talked about it, asked why people are the way that they are, and letting people know it's okay. And, we can make it through. You can make it through. As long as you fight for it, you can make it through.
So shout out to hope, because that's what life is all about. You go through it, but you also have to have hope when
Yes.
you're going through it. So now, we talked a little about the music. We talked about being heard. I want to give you a chance to deliver your message. So now you can stand on your square. Tell everybody why should they get your album, where they could get it, your social media, and you got 30 seconds. Go.
All right, well, I'll go. My social media is Hectic The Latin Assassin. Instagram on everywhere. The only thing that's different is Twitter, Hectic from BK. Facebook, Hectic Negron Jr. You can go on Linktree, Hectic The Latin Assassin. You'll find everything. Everything's on all DSPs. Hectic The Latin Assassin. Shout out to my wife. She does my merchandise. You can go to concretecraftscollective.com and you can get my merchandise. Shout out to Fleet Artists and all my Fleet people. Shout out to God Division. And my message is that I'm going to keep coming. Y'all going to keep hearing about me. I'm not going nowhere. And I'll keep giving everybody, parts of me and parts of life, but also that old school feel.
All right, and that's what it is, everybody. So for Hector the Latin Assassin, the song of the week for me. Let me go through my list real quick because I want to give you one of my favorites. Walk Through Storms and No Regrets. Shout out to Passport School. Those are two songs
Shout out
that
to Passport School. That's my homie too. He was on part 2 as well. Life is always like the part 2 as well. Shout out to Passport.
Yeah, Walk Through Storms and No Regrets by Hectic the Latin Assassin are two songs I think the world could benefit from by hearing. But now we got to what I think is the most fun part of the interview, the rapid fire questions, which are not yes, no questions. These are questions designed to show the depth and knowledge of the artist to the hip hop culture that we share. You ready to play this game?
Yeah, we can play it.
And everybody watching, comments, leave your questions in the comments. I want to know what you think. Ask this young man some questions. What would you like to know? So I'm gonna start off, and when the questions come, I'll just add in. Here we go.
Right.
First question: what song or album from another artist perfectly describes you?
Nas, New York State of Mind.
This guy's a home team guy for real. All right, you a New York Knicks fan. Who was the heart of the Knicks? Charles Oakley or Anthony Mason?
And that's so hard because Anthony Mason was an enforcer. Charles Oakley was there longer, so I got to go Oakley. They traded Mason after the fact.
They traded Oakley too.
Yeah, but they traded Mason before they traded Oakley.
Okay. Shout out to
but Mason was the enforcer though.
Yeah.
Anthony Mason.
Yep, he was one of the original point forwards. If y'all know New York Knicks basketball.
Yeah, he bring the ball up.
All right, because you're a Knicks fan, we're gonna put some basketball in here. All right, here we go. What's the perfect hip hop beat? Meaning, if this person never had the beat, would have been your first single.
Survival of the Fittest, Mobb Deep.
He is New York for real. He went to Queens on it. Okay, that's pretty good. Next question. We going back to the Knicks. What's your all-time top 5 Knicks players? What's your starting 5 all time?
Walt Frazier.
You
You
didn't even
got
see Walt
Carmelo,
Frazier play, bro.
but still, he won a championship. You got to
Okay.
go with him. Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Carmelo Anthony, and Jalen Brunson.
3 guards?
Yep, got to go with it.
All right.
Melo.
All right.
Hey, John Starks, the dunk. Come on now. He can play small forward.
A 6'5"? No, I'm good. All right. John Starks, you got it. All right, cool. Hip hop question. What's the most important instrument in hip hop today and why?
What's the important instrument of hip hop today?
What's the most important instrument in hip hop today and why?
Hip hop today, that the underground's still doing it, that there's still people, that the legends are still doing it, that, you know what I mean? Like, even though, like, not today's music is not everybody's cup of tea, you can still got other guys doing what they doing.
What's the most unfair critique in hip hop we have today?
That we're too old. That this is too old, and you know what I mean, or everybody has to get with what's going on today.
What's the most important era in hip hop?
See, ours is the best era in hip hop, but there was so many competition. Probably in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, the South.
That's the most important? Why?
No, I wouldn't say the most important. I thought you were saying like more supportive.
What is the most important?
Oh, the most
era
important,
in
hands
hip-hop?
down. The most important era of hip hop was our era of hip hop. Nas,
Being?
Nas, in the early to mid 90s.
The early to the mid 90s. So you're talking about 92 to 97?
Yeah, about there.
Okay. Why?
Because of the amount of artists that were during that time. I mean, you're talking about Biggie, Nas, Pac, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, Scarface, Big L, Big Pun, Dre, Snoop, I could keep going on and on. It was just, you go to the CD store, you only got money for one CD. You got like 5 of your favorite artists that dropped the album that same day. Which one you buying?
Who's your top 5 Hispanic rappers of all time? You cannot include yourself.
Big Pun, Cuban Link, definitely Cuban Link. Be Real, gotta give respect to Be Real. I give respect to my dog Aguilar. And let's see, Nori. He's half, but I give it to Nori.
All East Coast dudes almost. It'll be real. Yo, shout out to you, yo. All right. Anybody got questions? Got any questions you want to ask? Put them in the comments right now. Let's end this with a bang. Let's do real well.
And if anyone knows who my favorite rapper is Nas. Nas is my GOAT.
Hey man, hey.
Everybody got to go.
The GOAT, but
yeah, I mean everybody got to go.
My GOAT is Redman, but
that's what I'm saying. Everybody got to go, and it's always debatable because there's so many ill people. But mine is Nas.
East or West, there is no best. That's what he said.
But Redman was just as nasty. That's why I said, like, people, it's debatable because everybody, you can't have a wrong answer, and especially if people influenced you coming up too. But Nas, that's what Nas was to me. You know what I mean?
New York gets a bad rap in hip hop, right? I want to ask you this question: Hip hop, New York gets a bad rap. We've heard things like bring hip hop back, right? When it comes to New York. Now, just like the Knicks had to return to prominence, what do you think it would take to have New York return to prominence in hip hop?
You know, they need to start, like it was kind of going back to that question before, like what can hip hop do? Like New York has to do the same thing, like, support its underground, support, most of the underground rappers, a lot of them is from the tri-state area. You know what I mean? Like support that underground scene. You know what I mean? Not, stop spinning stuff that sounds like we in Atlanta and not New York. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean you can't play it. I understand it's a business, but you know what I mean? Like, start getting behind back to what we doing, and they do, but they don't. You know what I mean? And it's like, stop keeping one foot in and one foot out. Like, help
How
us.
did,
You know what I mean? Bring it back. Support it.
okay. How did you like being on the Heritage Hip Hop podcast, or would you recommend us to anybody else?
Yes, I definitely would recommend you. This was awesome. I feel like, this is one of the first interviews where, we went into a depth about a lot of things, and, it wasn't just about me. It was about the culture. It was about the music. And, you know what I mean? It was a healthy conversation. Some of it was a debate, and shows that, people accept constructive criticism. It's okay not to agree, but it's okay. You could agree to disagree, and just go ahead on. This was awesome. You know what I mean? This wasn't just about anything. We talked about so many different topics, so I would definitely refer this to everybody. This was a awesome show. Shout out to MJ. Shout out to Fleet. And you know what I mean? I would definitely tell people that they should definitely try to get on the Heritage Show, the Heritage Hip Hop.
Yeah, Fleet, what's good? I'm calling my team out. I love my squad. Shout out to the Fleet DJs. Fleet DJ Music Conference coming up this July from the 17th to the 21st. Everybody, if you're an artist and you want to perform in front of people from the industry, DJs, international and domestic, check out this Fleet DJ Music Conference by going to fleetdjs.com. It will be in Atlanta, Georgia this July. So make sure you check them out, all right?
And I'll also send you, I got a Fleet spotlight going down with the New Jersey DJs in March, the first week of March. So I'll let you know the date and time. So
yeah, y'all, we break artists and we break records over here. Heritage Hip Hop, New Jersey Fleet DJs. As you see, we put in some work. So I ain't get any questions in the comments. So guess what?
Be good, man.
Yeah,
salute. I gotta jump on another station anyway too, that they waiting for me.
All right, so the last question. 500 years from now, when you're in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, someone's gonna push that button on the wall, your hologram's gonna come out and they're gonna play your music. What is the legacy you want to leave behind that made the world greater because you made hip hop music?
Leave the legacy of my life, leave a legacy for my kids, leave a legacy of that they could listen to and be like, yo, I can relate to this person. This person was ill. He spread a message. He, you know what I mean, could go bar for bar. He could do everything. And, you know what I mean? Like, we can enjoy listening to his music after he's gone. You know what I mean? Like, or whatnot. And just to know that, like, this guy put his soul in every rhyme that he wrote and blood, sweat, and tears to do this.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is called authenticism. Be authentic when you make your music and your art, because at the end of the day, that's how you want to be remembered. Not phony, but authentic. Because through your authentic self, not only do you reflect God, but you give the blessings he gave you to the world around you. This is Karev at Heritage Hip Hop with Hectik The Latin Assassin saying thank you for watching. Subscribe to heritagehiphop.com. Follow my man right here. Make sure you get that good music. And at the end of the day, we like to say peace. And we out.
We out. Peace.
Real hip hop. Real